What's up Internet, IG here with another Linux distro review. Today I'm just going to be starting a quick series on Linux distributions that are great for the new user. They're going to be based on Ubuntu, and yes, no surprises, they are based on the Mac OS X look and feel. Quick explanation as to why I'm doing this. When I first started out looking at other operating systems apart from Windows, one of the first operating systems, of course, that I was interested in was Mac OS X, simply because, well, let's face it, a few of my friends had Macs, and it was quite an enviable experience. So, in the subsequent months after that, I tried to install Mac OS X Tiger on my Dell desktop. That was met with mixed success, but it was through that experience that I learned about other operating systems, including the vast Linux world. Now, at that stage, Ubuntu, of course, was the kingpin distribution to try, and you could trick it out to look like Mac OS X in one way or another. Now, since then, of course, many distributions have taken on the Mac OS X ethos of their design paradigms and various things like that. Now, of course, if they were making money off them, Apple is the sort of company that would want to sue the pants off them very quickly. But since it's all GPL, the legal ground there is dodgy. Either way, it's still quite an enviable experience, and if you can provide a new user with a fresh operating system that works well, that they can understand, that they can get around with, and it just looks cool, then in my opinion, their job is done. It's getting more people into the free software community. So in that regard, I'm just going to be taking a look at a series of distributions that achieve this goal. In particular, I'm going to be looking at Pear Linux 5, I'm going to be looking at Pinguy OS 12.04 and Luninux 12.0, all based off Ubuntu 12.04, so you've got a vast user base there, and of course the hardware support and performance is very similar across the board. So this first video I'm going to be having a look at Pear Linux 5, and hopefully by the end of this series we'll be able to see which is the best distribution for new users to try out. So after a very long introduction, let's just have a quick look at Pear Linux 5. Now first of all, the theming and the iconography and the fonts of this distribution are very much geared towards the Mac OS X audience. Wallpapers are standard GNOME 3. You've got a theme here that does look very nice indeed. You've also got the icon themes, which are the Faenza Mac set, so you have unmistakably Mac looking icons in your finder there. All of the items on your dock down the bottom here are renamed to make sense in the Mac OS X world, such as the Pear Appstore, Launchpad and Finder for Nautilus, your standard file manager. Launchpad is, of course, the Mac OS X term for what used to be Elementary's Slingshot Launcher. Now, since then, the Elementary team, who I greatly admire, have developed the Slingshot Launcher to fit their own standards and to do their own thing, and it does look quite unique. But this is an earlier revision of that launcher, and it still looks nice, but it bears an uncanny resemblance to, of course, Mac OS X's Launchpad launcher, which came shortly after the Elementary team developed theirs. No surprises there. Now, of course, it is a very tablety kind of interface with this launcher, but considering you've got the filtered search up the top here, as opposed to Mac OS X, I think it's still somewhat functional, and it's a very colorful and beautiful way to have a look at all your apps. Having said all of those apps, let's just have a quick look at what you get here by default. You get Shotwell, you get Skype, Google Chrome, Firefox, which is great to see they've thrown Chrome in there as well, Dropbox, which is fantastic, Cheese, Clementine for your music player. You've got the PPA Manager, which definitely deserves a mention, because this makes it very, very easy for the new user to add external PPAs to their system without any terminal fuss or going into the Synaptic Package Manager or anything like that. So major props to Pear Linux for including this, because it really does take the hassle out of it, installing third-party software from third-party repositories. Secondly, another unique aspect to Pear Linux 5 is the App Store. Now, the App Store is actually the Linux Deepin Software Center or Software Manager. I'm not exactly sure of the terminology there. But the good news is that this App Store is very, very colorful, and it's very bright, very user-friendly. I think this has got to be one of the best, software management programs out there. It'd be great to see even something like the Mint team get on board with this and really give it their polish, because quite honestly, this application is one of the best ways to install software on Linux. It's very user-friendly, and it can get a little bit pokey sometimes as far as performance goes. But for a new user coming in here, I think they would catch on very quickly what this is all about. They can have a look at some of the latest applications that have been installed. They can look at some of the highest rated media applications, internet, games, graphics, all here at the home screen, and you can just queue them up and hit install, and it'll give you some very nice information just based on what the information is based on the Ubuntu repositories. And also, if I was connected to the internet properly, I would get screenshots and also a link to their homepage of that application in the app description here, which is pretty fantastic. Of course, you've also got upgrades there, so it manages all your updates through here as well. The interface looks very clean, it looks very nice. You can uninstall your applications as well, which is also another great thing to see, because this can be a bit of a struggle in other distributions, Ubuntu included. It can be sometimes hard to find an application that you've already installed but no longer want. You can see the repositories and the different categories here running along the side for all of the applications you would ever want or need, including all their icons. So it's just very pretty, very functional, and it really gets the job done. Again, it would be great to see some navigation icons at the top here, such as going back and going forward. You do have the back icon here, which sends you back to the home page, where you've got these lovely banners here as well. But again, it would be nice to have more of a web page functionality here. Now, of course, you have got mission control, so if you launch more than one window, which we'll do here, for example, also just quick note with the GNOME Contacts app that they've included by default. Of course, Ubuntu doesn't enjoy any of the GNOME default apps that have been included since GNOME 3.4, but Pear Linux throws some in for good measure, because they do adhere to really adhere to the whole simplicity of design and all that sort of thing. So mission control here, you've got your window and workspace managers here, much like you do with OS 10. So that's a very cool feature to highlight. And you've got all of your little applets running along the side here, including login, logout, battery, network manager, volume, etc. That's really all there is to Pear Linux 5. It is just an Ubuntu-based distribution with a Mac OS 10 gloss on it. It definitely is a step up from Pear Linux 4, which was known as Commerce OS, I believe. It's much more stable. Because of the fact the Linux Deepin team have done quite a bit of work on the App Store or the Linux Deepin Software Manager, that's been moving along very well as well. We've got Chrome by default there. I think we got a much better selection of apps this time around, and also the theme does look quite nice as well. Be great to see a tweaking tool installed here by default, but let's face it, if the theme looks good enough, most new users aren't going to be too fussed with wanting to change everything about their system. You can, of course, add docklets and helpers to your dock here if you want Skype controls or Zeitgeist or terminal applications, battery monitors, any number of little applications you can add here to your dock to make it more powerful to suit yourself. But overall, I would be pretty happy to give Pear Linux 5 a good 7.5 out of 10. They give you a basic set of applications, a very uncomplicated user experience, not that many tools and differentiations from standard Ubuntu or any other distribution for that matter. You do get GNOME Shell as your working environment, so like it or lump it, that's what they're encouraging their new users to adopt. But it'll be interesting to see how Pear Linux 5 stacks up against Pinguy OS and also Luninux. Of course, my gaming series is going to continue, so you'll be seeing another gaming video very shortly. Also, let me know in the comments below what more advanced Linux distribution you would like to see. I know I've had some requests for Gen 2, but again, my goal for my Linux channel is really to showcase the Linux desktop to an average to maybe slightly more advanced computer user. So maybe, I don't know, if you guys want me to spend some time looking at Gen 2, then I'd be happy to, but otherwise I'm going to be sticking to mainly the more consumer user to power user view of the Linux desktop, because I think that's where the Linux market has room to expand. Thank you everybody for your continued support and suggestions. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, hit the like. If you really like the video, share it around with your friends, and if you really like the video, then consider subscribing so you can get my content on a regular basis in your inbox. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.